back and ready for another round. Hello and welcome to the first episode in the post-weapon rebalance Payday 2 weapon guide. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the GSPS 12G. The Goat Slayer Police Special is based on the Ithaca Model 37 shotgun series, which was first designed in 1933. While at a glance it may appear like any other pump-action shotgun, its bottom loading port also functions as the weapon's ejection port, making it a preferable choice for left-handed shooters. While it never saw adoption by any major military power, it was popular among sports shooters and police forces alike. Both the NYPD and LAPD adopted variants of the Ithaca 37 for regular and highway patrol officers. Looking at the raw stats of the GSPS, it may seem to be an almost identical reskin of the locomotive shotgun. However, once it's fully upgraded, the differences begin to show, and each shotgun offers some interesting advantages over the other that allows the GSPS to carve out its own niche. Base damage comes in just ahead of the locomotive at 59, meaning it will easily be able to score one-shot headshot kills against green FBI. However, it will require an additional shot for their tan counterparts. Cloakers and tasers will be much more resilient to the stock GS, and will require 3 and 4 headshots respectively. Once you invest in some modifications and shotgun skills, the GSPS has the potential to be extremely effective at knocking out enemies with a single blast. With the right ammunition and overkill activated, it can even down a cloaker with a single strike to the head on overkill. Deathwish will see the GSPS's damage potential severely diminished, and will necessitate the use of the overkill skill. Try to chain as many kills together to keep the 75% damage bonus. As a final note, shotguns in general are not the best weapons to use to kill bulldozers, and the GS is no exception. The biggest advantage the locomotive will have over the Goat Slayer is the fact that its rate of fire is roughly 50% higher, which in a pump-action shotgun does make quite a difference. A slower rate of fire will mean that you need to be more careful when you pull the trigger and try to score as many hits with every blast. Prior to the shotgun rebalance, this would have been a bigger issue. However, since shotguns now fire 12 pellets as opposed to 5 or 6, you are much more likely to score a hit. The only advantage of having a slower rate of fire is that it does force more discipline when shooting, and prevents you from wasting ammunition when in a panic. One area the Goat Slayer shotgun excels in is stability, where it will have dramatically less recoil than the Loco, especially when fully upgraded. The increased stability does make it a bit easier when trying to reacquire targets, but as a general rule, shotguns, especially pump-action ones, do not live and die by the amount of recoil they have. Since shotguns in Payday 2 only require one pellet to strike its target to deal full damage, decreasing accuracy is actually a very effective way of improving the GS's killing potential, allowing it to hit multiple targets with a single blast. While the GS and Loco both have the same base accuracy, through mods the Goat Slayer can actually have its accuracy decreased much lower. Keep in mind this only works with pellet-based shotgun ammunition like Triple-Aught Buck, Dragon's Breath, and Flechette ammo. Slugs and high explosive rounds only fire a single projectile, meaning shotguns with low accuracy are a poor choice for such shells. By default, you'll be able to load 7 shells into the internal tubular magazine of the GSPS, and this can only be improved using the Mag Plus skill via the Technician tree. While it may seem sparse, with good timing and some luck, you can easily down over 10 enemies per loading thanks to its exceptional damage and spread. Reloads are conducted by manually loading shells into the shotgun, and can take quite some time to perform start to finish, a little over 6 seconds. However, if you keep your eye on the ammo count, you can top off your shells in between engagements, each shell taking just under 1 second to load. If you're not shooting, you should be reloading. For those looking for a quicker reload, the shotgun CQB skill will improve your reload speed by 33%. Allowing you to spend more time fighting and less time reloading. Using standard ammunition and without fully loaded, you will carry 35 shells in reserve plus 7 inside the shotgun. This lets you sustain yourself on ammunition from slain enemies rather than having to leech ammo from an ammo bag. Using specialist ammunition, with the exception of flechettes, will reduce your total ammunition by a fair amount. However, since you will most likely be using shotgun skills, it is also wise to invest 4 points into fully loaded, granting 25% more total ammunition. Overall, ammo won't be a huge concern unless you are running slugs or high explosive rounds. However, both ammo types go against the shotgun's strengths. Modifying the Goat Slayer is fairly simple, as you are only limited to a few mod slots, and only a handful of those offer more than one option. The first slot will determine what ammunition we use. While in most cases it will come down to personal choice, I find this shotgun works best with triple-aught buckshot. The increase in damage improves its effectiveness over range, as well as allowing it to score more consistent one-shot kills, even without overkill activated. The second slot has only one option, the RIOT barrel, which will reduce the weapon's accuracy and improve spread, both of which are ideal. The next slot will allow us the choice of muzzle extensions, and for any shotgun using spread-based ammo, the shark teeth are the ideal choice. To further increase our spread and allow for better hit dispersion, the accuracy reduction boost will be our choice for this weapon. For your gadget choice, I went with the LED combo, but some might prefer the less awkward profile of the military laser mod. And for our final choice, we will not equip the stakeout grip, as it only increases weapon recoil. Once the dust settles, the GSPS will have a much wider spread and less recoil than its counterpart. However, it will sacrifice fire rate and potential magazine capacity for this. The Goat Slayer will require more patience and skill to use than the Loco, but will reward players who are mindful of both shot placement and their remaining ammo. This works very well in conjunction with long-range centric primary weapons like the M308 or any of the sniper rifles, as it can provide a quick and deadly solution to any enemy who happens to try and ambush you. You'll want to avoid using specialist ammunition, as it will only hinder this weapon's ability to function as a backup primary. Also, while you do have the liberty to engage special enemies such as cloakers, shields, and tasers, this weapon will not fare well against the bulldozer outside of extreme close ranges. It's best to use your primary weapon to eliminate them, or wait for a teammate to assist you. Overall, the GSPS is more than just a reskin, and is capable of holding its own amongst primary shotguns. Play to the weapon's strengths, and avoid its weaknesses, and you'll have no trouble slaying its competition. Thank you very much for watching. Join me next time when we take a look at the Eagle Heavy. But until then, farewell.